Space War on Atari 2600. Atari really went back to the past when making this one, considering it's based on the first ever arcade game Computer Space from 1971, which is itself a version of 1962's MIT project Space War. The first challenge Zayden and I had was getting two controllers that actually worked.
How do you move?
Forward. Push up. It's like...
Okay. I guess my up doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering that in the other game when I was like, I can't speed up for some reason. No. I also can't shoot.
But you can go left and right?
I can go left and right. And
Why am I
right
going backwards?
actually
Wait,
has
that's
drift, as you can see. Wow. Okay.
That might be the winner for the worst one yet. Can you
Okay.
okay, so you can shoot. Can you steer?
I can turn left. I don't seem to be able to turn right.
I guess I need to do some inventory on which controllers need to be repaired. Once we finally did get that sorted out, it was time to go to war. In space. Well, I see the war, but where's the space? Of all the games to not have a black background, why this one? It looks like a couple neon Doritos having a shootout in a sea of tomato sauce. Well, actually, I'm told these aren't the original colors, and that they only look this way because I need to adjust the physical color wheel for the RF output on my VCS's motherboard. A project for another day, perhaps. In case you're wondering, green is the intended background color, so the issue of not having a black background still stands. Oh well, I mean, it really doesn't affect the core gameplay. Just like in Computer Space, two players control a ship floating through the emptiness of space, and your goal is to shoot your opponent's starship. You score a point every time you get a hit, and the first player to 10 points wins. Pressing the button fires, moving the joystick left and right will angle your ship accordingly, and pushing forward activates your thrusters. The longer you hold forward, the faster your ship will go, and the more momentum it will gain. And of course, one of the first things I had to try was seeing how fast I could get going.
Good luck hitting
I
me.
feel like I just keep going so fast. Oh man, you got me again.
That was not skill at all.
Since you're in space, there's nothing to slow you down automatically, meaning that counter thrust is your only option. Sometimes that's not always the easiest thing to do, however, especially in the early game modes where you bounce off the walls.
I don't know how to slow down at this point.
Yeah, neither do I.
Like, I guess I'm just doing
I'm like,
this now.
I'm trying to do
I
like
can't even get out of here.
counter
like-
thrust, but I'm going so fast I don't have time to spin around and start to counter thrust.
The momentum doesn't just affect your ship's movement either. The velocity of your shot is dependent on how fast you're going and which direction you're facing. I'm actually not sure if this was an intentional design decision or if it just sort of happened due to the way the physics were programmed, but I found it almost impossible to make any practical use of. I will admit, especially in the initial modes that include walls, I was having a hard time feeling like anything I did was skill-based. Between the high speeds you can get up to, the tiny target that is your opponent's ship, and the intentionally floaty space physics, it felt like most of the hits that either of us got were just down to luck.
Yeah, I wonder how much skill expression there is in a game like this. I'm like, theoretically you should be able to do this, but I'm like, what human can read all those angles that well? It really just feels like you just randomly kind of shoot and fly around and hope
Yeah.
for the best.
Some of the later game variations include a star at the center of the screen, similar to Computer Space. Its gravitational pull isn't exactly strong, but it can get you in trouble if you happen to drift near it at low speeds. You can also give yourself something of a slingshot effect when traveling close to it, which is pretty neat, though again, I had a hard time making any real use of it. There are also some modes that include the ability to cloak your ship by pulling back on the joystick. You're able to remain invisible so long as you don't press the fire button, so it's a bit similar to the invisible tanks mode in combat. The thing is, in that game you have a fixed movement speed and the ability to easily stop, meaning that you'll have a general idea of where you are so long as you're paying attention. However, here in Space War, where I appeared was just as much of a surprise to me as it was to my opponent.
Then you can go cloaking
Like, I would have any idea where I would
where you're
be.
at. I'm like, can you still get shot when you're cloaked?
Apparently.
I was like, I guess.
Was your bullet cloaked?
The thing is that I thought my bullet hit the star.
I didn't see a bullet hit me. It kind of exploded.
And really, it all fits together into a common theme. Lots of interesting ideas that feel almost impossible to use properly. It's like the game is too advanced and futuristic for mere mortals like myself to fully comprehend. The final set of variations are within the space shuttle mode. There are now 2 squares, space modules floating around the play area. You're no longer able to fire at each other, and your new goal is to connect your spaceship with said module. In this case, that really just means making contact with the module. It might seem like an easy enough task, but it's actually much harder than it looks, especially when the collision detection demands such precision.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, it's hitting your own color.
Okay.
So this is just like a piloting skills game.
Wow. I'm gonna say you won and call it there.
Call that one there.
I'll be honest, I didn't care much for this mode personally. Skill issue, I know. There's certainly a charm to Space War. It has that early VCS game feel to it that takes you back to a time before games like Space Invaders and Pac-Man changed the industry forever. It's just you and a friend sitting in front of the CRT, armed with Atari joystick controllers, just shooting at each other to the pleasant sounds of the 2600's TIA chip. I'd personally still prefer to be playing either Combat or Outlaw in this scenario, but I guess Space War is not a bad choice if you can get used to the controls and physics.